Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 26 July 2024. So let's get started with our discussion. And here I am taking Delhi edition of Hindu. So whichever edition you are having, you can go to that. So there will be a very little variation of 2 to 3 articles. That's it. That too from states page. Other than everything is normal, like editorial is same, op-ed is same, text and context is same. So those are the articles that you have to follow for your examination. So always I'll be saying two important things, and in this class also I want to say with that. First one is you have to follow your UPSC syllabus always. While you're reading any subject or any topic per se, you have to take the micro listings of the syllabus and you have to go according to that. Then only you can complete your syllabus within the time, and even you can make an effective notes. And next you have to go through your PMIQs. It is not about how much you studied or how many books you covered. It is about how you're performing in examination, right? So for that you have to understand the topics on which the repeatedly question is asked by UPSC and in which pattern they're asking questions you need to know, right? So for that you have to go through your PYQs of both prelims and also mains. It is at most important. So these two you should not leave till you enter into your services, right? So even while you're sleeping also keep them aside beside you while sleeping so that you will be not forgetting them at all. Okay, so let us see this front page. So can you see this title? Online students, so please focus. Uh, States have unlimited right to tax mineral rich land, says Supreme Court. So to understand this article, you need to know the judgment of 1989, what Supreme Court said. Okay. So after reading this article, can you tell me what might be there in the judgment? Come on, think. I'm giving you the time. What might be there in the judgment? See this. Come on. Unlimited right to whom? States or center? That means central government is having the power to impose tax on mineral rich lands. That is a judgment which is given by Supreme Court now. So can you guess what might be the judgment earlier? Earlier judgment? It's given power to center or state? Center government, right? Okay, now let us see this article, whether it is important from our UPSC point of view or not. Where? Economy, geography. It is talking about minerals. Okay, so it is talking about Supreme Court judgment. So tell me from which subjects we can connect this. Minerals comes under part of GS1 geography, where you will be studying about different metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals, examples and locations where they are present in India. Okay, this is from geography point of view, and now Supreme Court had been involved. So can you connect with polity? Yes, from GS paper 2 we can connect with polity, because we are seeing the judgment from 1989 to 2004 and now 2024 judgment. So three are related to this case, and next it is related to mining also, right? So where we can connect this mining? In which subjects? Yes. From GS paper 3, here we have both economy and also environment and ecology, right? Okay, so I want to let you know exactly what you have to see from this article. So I am talking about mines and minerals here. First important point is you have to see the acts which are related to this mines and minerals in India. So in this article, it is talking about Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. So you have to know about that. Mines and Minerals Development. So what is that act? Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. So apart from that, what you have to know? So first one is you have to know about that act. And second one is you have to know about historical background of this case. So if you see in this 1989, at that time Supreme Court established 7-judge bench. That means 7 judges will be there to decide that case. And when 2004 just 5-judge bench, but now here 9-judge bench. Okay, you have to see historical background. And third one is present Supreme Court judgment, what it said. You have to know this. 4 things. And apart from that, what will be the impact of this present judgment on states? Okay, what is the impact of present judgment? So all these 5 are the dimensions that you have to know from this article. Okay, apart from that, you can refer about mining and how it is related to our economy, mining and impact on economy, okay, mining and the locations from geography point of view, and you have to see the states where we are going for this mining, and you have to see which state is having which type of minerals. Okay, so all these things are very important from this article. Clear about dimensions? Okay, now let us see this article in detail. I want to give you one question. Try to think on this. I want to improve your thinking process. Okay, now Supreme Court said that state is having unlimited power to impose tax. So before that, I will tell you the story. So after listening the story, you can connect this much better. So in 1989, the case went to Supreme Court. So in that, Supreme Court came up with 7-judge bench, and in that 7-judge bench, it said that so mines comes under central list. So we have schedule 7, right? So schedule 7 talks about central list, state list, and union list. So this mines and minerals and this act which comes in a central list. So Supreme Court said that it is the ultimate power of central government to impose tax. Okay, so this is the judgment of 1989 to impose tax on mineral rich lands. And again this same case went to Supreme Court in 2004. Okay, in 2004. And not only this one point which said by Supreme Court, it also said one more point is, so we have central government on one side and we have state government on another side, right? Central government can impose tax. So this is the first point it said, and state government can impose royalty. Do you know about royalty? So if you are having any agreement between 2 parties, so in return they will be giving something in the favor. So that is the royalty. So state government can impose royalty, but central government has the power to impose tax. So this is the Supreme Court judgment in way back of 1989. So later on what happened in 2004? Here same Supreme Court said that yes, royalty is different from tax. Royalty is different from tax. So because of the state government, they are losing their finances. But there is no clear-cut judgment in 2004. And finally, again, it went to Supreme Court and 2024. So what is the gap here? After 20 years, now finally Supreme Court gave a judgment that, yes, here states, they have the unlimited power to impose tax. It is not the central government. It is not the central government, it is a state government can impose a tax. So now Supreme Court said this judgment. Okay, so whenever state is having now this right of imposing tax, then what will be the impact? Come on, think. What happens? Okay, states will be getting more revenue and central government will be losing revenue. Next. State GDP get increased. Then what happens? Then so what? That will happen obviously. So what? I don't bother. Think. What happens in the state? Huh? Yes, how? Expand on that.
From the mines, they will get the revenue.
Mm.
So the revenue will be expanded.
Yes, they will be getting revenue so that they can focus on welfare schemes and further infrastructure development. Further, it will contributes to economic growth, right? So those things that you have to remember. So whenever you are reading any article, just you have to see any acts are there or not, because whenever you're writing your answer, you have to substantiate your argument. There you have to write the acts, and even the judge bench, how many judge bench, everything that you have to see. And there is nothing which is given here. So actually this article is talking about only the judgment which is given by the Supreme Court. But because of that, what it is going to happen, that you have to expect. So that is the thing which is UPSC expecting from you students. Okay. So if you see this article, it is saying that 9-judge constitutional bench of Supreme Court ruled 8:1. That means 8 people, they are favor of giving judgment towards state, and 1 is giving in the favor of center. So now the judgment is 8:1. So whenever you are getting Supreme Court judgment, you have to see how many judge bench. Number is very important. It's 9 judge, and you have to see how many are in favor and how many are in disfavor. So that is also very important from your mains answer writing. Okay, so 8:1 said that we have to give unlimited right to tax mineral rich land that is given to states. So that is through Mines and Minerals Act. So now we are restricting the power of parliament because we are increasing the power of state. That means, can we add one more dimension here? Can we write about something regarding federalism? Yes or no? Can we write about something regarding federalism or not? So we are upholding the rights of state. Okay, so we can add one more dimension. So what we can understand from this article, so here court is trying to empower the states. So here you can get a question like, what is the role of judiciary in maintaining the federal structure of India? So there you can add this article as an example. Recently Supreme Court ruled that what? So state government have unlimited power in imposing tax on mines. And students who are going to write this year mains, you can get this question, and even 2025 you also may be getting this question. Okay, so you have to write this kind of examples to substantiate in your answer, so that current affairs plays a very important role in your answer writing. So many students they don't have proper understanding of current affairs, like how they can use the articles in mains. So because of that, they are not clearing the mains. So in this way, if you are a step ahead compared to the others, means obviously you will be clearing in the first attempt only. Okay. And what can we understand? So because of this judgment, what happened? So this taxation rights of state can increase the revenue of state, obviously, so that they can spend on essential services, and it will be also focusing on social welfare of that state. Okay, in social indicators, that state can be forward. And again, one more question here. Some states you are having rich minerals and some states they don't. For example, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. For example, if you see southern state, they don't have properly. So again, there will be regional imbalance. So again, it is having both positives and as well as negatives. Okay, you have to think in that dimension also. And next one is obviously that state economic growth can be enhanced because of local economies, leading to better infrastructure, and they'll be focusing on better public services, better welfare things, everything. Okay, and next one is regarding royalties. So now we got a clear-cut difference between what is the tax and what is royalty. Now state they can tax directly compared to the royalties. And next one is, now we are also having disparities between the states, because some states they are having rich minerals and some states they don't have. Again, there are regional disparities. So if you go to the history of this case, in 1989, a 7-judge bench rules that center has the primary authority over regulation of minerals and mines under this Mines and Minerals Act, which is present in Union list. Okay, and later on in that same judgment, here state they are only get permitted to collect the royalties, and they will be not have the permission to impose any additional tax on this mines. And later on 2004 5-judge bench, as I said, they said that royalties were not tax, And finally, that again, the same judgment had went to judicial review, and after 20 long years, we got the final judgment now. So, what do you understand? One more point from polity here regarding judiciary. Judiciary is very late or very delayed in India. Tell me, what are the problems of judiciary now? Can you add this problem? Delay in getting judiciary or justice? Why? What might be the reasons?
Because the number of cases are
Yes, there is rising of pendency of cases. So here you can see this case itself. It had been from 1989 onwards. So finally we got judgment in 2024. So in this years, how many cases they had been piled up in the Supreme Court or High Court? Many, right? So this is the one major problem we are facing, that is pendency of cases. And even if you see the appointment of judges, it is also very delayed, and many a time we have vacancy in the judges position. Either you can take Supreme Court or High Court or district courts or lower courts, any other courts. So this is the second important problem, that is vacancy, and next one is pendency. And what might be the solution for this problem? What can we do? How? We can go for other alternate dispute resolution mechanisms like mediation. Apart from that, we are also having tribunals. Next, we are also having fast track courts, right? So here, just one article, how many dimensions I said? So in that way, you have to think. You should not only focus on, okay, this article is important, this article is important from polity, I have to read only this. It is not like that. You should not only stuck to one article. You have to think beyond earth, beyond its subject. Okay, in this way, your broader perspective will be increased, so that even when you are getting any interview questions, so you will be not answering only in one dimension. You will be answering from different dimension, and that will give you the edge in mains and even in your interview. Okay, so that is a skill that you have to remember and to require. That is a skill that you have to get in this coaching, but no coaching is providing that. Okay, so if you see some facts regarding what is this Mines and Minerals Development Act of 1957, it is a comprehensive legislation. Legislation is nothing but law of our government which is regulating mining sector in India. Okay, so what are the features it is talking about? The first one is regulation and development. So earlier it said it is only regulated by central government because it is under central list. And it is also talking about concession system, who will be getting concession, who will be not getting, what is eligibility criteria to get permission for mining, everything. And there will be also talks about what's the role of state, and this one is royalty and taxes, penalties, and how we have to follow sustainable practices. Even will we consider this mining as one of the destroying thing only, but even in this also they will be talking about sustainable mining practices, but that will be there on only paper. It will be not happen on practical thing on ground. And every time there will be amendments which will come to this acts. So recent amendment is in 2023 itself. Okay, so can you see this question? Come on, read this question. Consider the following statements regarding Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. So in this way you can expect your questions. First statement is Act provides for regulation of mines and the development of minerals under control of both union and states. Next one is the Act mandates the establishment of district mineral foundation in mining affected areas. And this one is the Act allows central government to revise royalty rates on minerals periodically. Come on, think and give me based on recent amendments. You have to see the amendments of 2023, and if you see that, then you can get the answer. So one provision here is they are talking about establishment of district mineral foundation, because whenever we are going for mining, it will be affecting that region, especially to ensure the protection of that region and even to ensure the safety of labor. They are coming up with this foundation. Okay. So have you gone through the newspaper? No time. No time? Very good. Easy answer. No time, ma'am. Okay. So can you see this article? Have you gone through the yesterday's news, anyone? So one UPSC aspirant had been died in Delhi. because of electrocution, because of electric shock, current shock. You know what happened? Electric shock, I know, but how? Who is responsible? But actually, the sad part is he cleared prelims and he is preparing for mains intensively. Suddenly, because of rain and because of something, the gate itself got shock. Huh? I don't want to comment on this. Okay, say this article. Okay, so read this article. I will give you 2 minutes of time. So this is the article. NHRC notice to Chief Secretary, Police Chief. So if you read this article, then I will let you know what exactly UPSC wants from you. Let us dig something deeper from today. NHRC on Thursday asked Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar and Police Commissioner and Tata Power DDL Chairman to file within 2 weeks a report on the death of UPSC aspirant due to electrocution on Monday. So only this is the information which is given. So many of you will think that this article is not important, only NHRC is there. So we have to refer only about NHRC. So this is a thought you are having, right? But you can dig deeper into this article. So how? I will tell you. So just spare 5 minutes of time with me so that I can explain clearly what exactly UPSC is expecting, and you will be surprised that, oh, in this article this much is there to study. Okay, so what is the keyword here? NHRC. So what is this NHRC? National Human Rights Commission, where you can study Lakshmikant. I know that is there in Lakshmikant. See, our students are doing some comedy show here. They are saying in Lakshmikant it is there karke. Okay, so in GS paper 2 polity, we will be reading that. So what exactly you will be referring from polity? Okay, what is this NHRC? So tell me whether it is a constitutional body or statutory body. Constitutional. Don't say about my name anywhere that Usha ma'am is teaching current affairs. It is not a constitutional body. Okay, it is a statutory body. Okay, it is a statutory body, and you have to see under which act we established this NHRC. And here you have to see members, who are the chairman and who are the other members, and what is the qualification and who are the other ex officio members. You have to see, and you have to see what are the powers and function. What are the powers and functions of NHRC? So this thing you will be reading from polity point of view. So here, this article is not only important from your polity GS paper 2, even you can expect GS paper 4 ethics question also here. Okay, now you have to expect where you can get question from this topic in your ethics. Come on, give some work to your brains. Do some brainstorming. Where you can expect the question. Online students, please do reply. So don't think that I'm teaching only class for offline, but even I'm focusing on online, because online students are favorite for me, always, as usual. Tell me, GS paper 4 ethics, where you can expect question. So we discussed about micro listing of topics in our class, right? So in that I discussed about corporate responsibility. Yes or no? From that topic, you can get a question, or else you can get directly a case study. They may not give this situation, but they may give a situation of electrocution related deaths. Okay, if you are a municipal commissioner, or if you are a company owner of that Tata who is supplying the electricity there, what is your responsibility? What is your accountability? Who is accountable for this type of reasons? Okay, so let us dig something deeper. Okay, so this article is saying only one thing. The first paragraph I copy paste from this article. It is saying NHRC has issued a notice to Chief Secretary and Police Commissioner and as well as Chairman of Tata Power DDL requesting the report within 2 days regarding electrocution death of UPSC aspirant. So this is a thing that directly copied from the article. But I did some analysis regarding what are the things that you have to grab from this article from UPSC mindset. So UPSC will be expecting all these points from your answer. So first one is, what is the role of NHRC? Tell me. It will be protecting human rights. So you have to understand that, yes, the work is doing, right? So now NHRC is giving the notices because it is its responsibility to protect human rights in India. So here it is committed because we can understand that it is doing investigations on these incidents. And second one is, now who is accountable here? Chief Secretary, and as well as next, even Tata, who is supplying the electricity, they are accountable. So here NHRC is also holding ranking officials accountable also. It is also making the higher officials accountable. If someone is there to pressure, then only they will be giving answers, or else no one will take care, right? So that is one important thing that you have to understand. And next one is impact on aspirants. So normally you will be also like, the next thought will be, whenever you want to start preparation for UPSC, first the thing which comes in your mind is go to Delhi and search about the hostel facilities, what are there in Delhi, right? So you might be also did that same thing. So whenever this type of incident, this kind of incidents are happening means, so what will come to the mind? Whether parents will be allowing their children to go to Delhi? No, because of giving small reason, there is no safety. And even for girls, so they won't even allow the girls to go to Delhi because of safety concerns, because of 2012 gang rape incident, right? So here we have to understand the vulnerabilities faced by students, and even it is responsibilities of the officials to provide safer environment for the students there, especially who are preparing for competitive examinations like UPSC. And if you see here, the next problem here is electrocution concerns. Like, we have to maintain electricity safety, yes or no? Because it is very dangerous. Within matter of seconds, we can lose a life. Okay. Electrical safety standards, especially in public areas, not only in the rented houses, study halls where you're going, or where you're living in the hostels, or whenever if you're going to any hospitals or public parks. So in these public areas, it is a responsibility of government to ensure proper standards of electricity, and we have to properly follow stricter regulations so that we can prevent this kind of accidents or tragedies in the future, or else it will go on. And next one is, even they gave the deadline of 2 weeks of time. That means they are focusing on urgency of protecting human rights violation. So what happened? So we can connect this incident with the rail accidents. So first rail accident happened in which area? Bihar. And later on, within the span of 1 month, 3 accidents have happened. So in the same way, if we might have used the strict regulations and strict safety standards, so later on these 2 incidents might not be happened. Yeah, yes or no? Will you accept it or not? So in this way, we need urgency in the reporting so that we can at least try to solve some more human right violations in the future, so that we can go for ensuring of accountability. And next one is, even the startup power supplier is also one of the important stakeholder here, because he needs to follow electrical safety whenever he is releasing the electricity or supplying this power. So you have to ensure that whether safety standards are there or not. And next one is, even public awareness is very important. Okay, so that we can follow safe regulations and we can go for campaigning. And whenever public getting like aware about this kind of incidents, then at least in the rainy season they will be checking the power supply in the homes and some public places whether it is safe or not, so that they can enhance their infrastructure if it is not better. And even accountability we can get for the public services also, right? So have you ever heard of or thought of these many points will be there in that simple article? So in this way you have to prepare. It is not like just reading the title and leaving. It is about, you have to understand in depth. So whenever you're understanding in depth, obviously in first attempt itself you can clear UPSC. That is the thing which is missing in our aspirants, especially from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana students, they have the stamina, but they are not clearing because of lack of in-depth analysis. Okay, done? Okay, and now I will be giving you one more question. So that will be, okay, so let me discuss about this National Human Rights Commission. Later on, I will be giving you the question. So what is this National Human Rights Commission? It is a statutory body and it is focusing on protection and as well as promotion of human rights in our country. It is at the national level. But in the state level also we have State Human Rights Commission. So it is established under Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993. So when you are writing an answer regarding NHRC, please try to start by writing it is a statutory body. So don't write it as a constitutional body as you said. Okay, it is a statutory body which is established under Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993. And composition we have chairperson and members and even we have ex officio members. 3 types of members will be there. One will be chairperson, next one is members, ex officio members. So chairperson will be Chief Justice of India or any other Supreme Court judge. And members of, first one is Judge of Supreme Court and next one is one member is Chief Justice of High Court and next one is 2 members are having the special knowledge in human rights. And we have ex officio members. The first one is from National Commission for Minorities. Next one is National Commission for Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes and Commission for Women. So from these 4 also we have the other ex officio members.
And the judges are in service or overrated?
You are in services. Yeah. And next one is, see this question for your surprise. How newspaper will be helpful to clear prelims? I want to give you one evidence. Read this question. Which of the following statements regarding the National Human Rights Commission is or correct? One is National Human Rights Commission is established under Protection of Human Rights Act. You know that. And chairperson of NHRC must be retired, Chief Justice of India. And next one is NHRC can only investigate cases referred it by government. So 2 you will be knowing if you read your Lakshmikant. So you will be stuck with third statement. So this is the thing which happens. So why many of you even know clearly the concepts who are not clearing your prelims because of you're not understanding current affairs properly. After reading also you will be not thinking about that topic. So if you have correctly aware about the current affairs, you can do that. So here this point is not there in your Lakshmikant, like whether these cases will be referred by only government, they will be taking it or not. But if you see this article, if you go here, so whether government recommended this NHRC to take up this case? No, that means if you understand like this, you can easily see this. No, it is not only investigating the cases referred by government, but even suo moto also with its interest. Wherever there is lack, wherever there is violation of current this human rights are happening, there it will be taking cases. So in this way, this current affairs will be helpful to eliminate the statements in your questions. So in this way, you have to see. So just don't read current affairs peripherally. This is the only one thing I want to say. Clear, Mani? Getting sleep? No? I can see. Okay, is there any article important in states page? Have you gone through the page? Yes or no? So here you can see this article. Is it important? Anti-defection law. 2 Jharkhand MLAs disqualified. What is the keyword? Anti-defection law. So where will we be reading this anti-defection law? How many times we discussed? Anti-defection law. From which subject it is important? Polity, GS paper 2. Where exactly? In which schedule? Forget me also. Schedule? Yes, schedule 10 talks about this anti-defection law. So what is the meaning of anti-defection law? So why we need that? Whenever a person who won election from one political party, if he is shifting to another political party, then he can be disqualified, right? So what exactly you have to see from this article? You have to see what is the schedule 10 of Indian Constitution Actually, this anti-defection law is not there in our original constitution when we came up. But later on, we added which Constitutional Amendment Act? No idea. 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act added this provision of anti-defection law to our constitution, and this will come in your exam. Okay, and whenever you're writing an answer regarding anti-defection law, you have to use the Schedule 10 and this amendment of 52nd. And here you have to see when this anti-defection law can be applicable, what is the criteria. So here we have voluntary shifting from one political party to another political party, he can be disqualified. And this one is for nominated members. For nominated members, what is the criteria? Yes, within 6 months, he can move to any other political party, but if he is moving to any political party after 6 months, he can be disqualified. And we have independently won people, right? For example, Barilaka, right? So she contested in elections as independent member. So for independent member, there is no chance of entering into any political party. If they are entering, means they can be disqualified. And who is the authority? Who is the authority to decide whether it comes under anti-defection law or not? Yes. So we have presiding officers in Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly. We have speaker, and in Rajya Sabha or Legislative Council, we have chairperson or chairman. Okay, so these are the things that you have to see. Whip, yeah, whip also. So that's what I'm saying. So you have to see what are the criteria, provisions of this Schedule 10. That's what the first point. If they go like that, then they will be disqualified under this anti-defection law. Okay, and today is Friday. You will be getting this Spotlight and also Metroplus. They are not at all useful, so simply ignore them. So here, say this article. What is the title of this article? Geo Calculus of Moscow Visit. So what this may be telling about? India and India. This is not a new topic. We discussed this topic in earlier classes. Yes, not Ukraine-Russia war. It is about India-Russia relations. So this article is talking about India-Russia relations. So where can we study this topic? GS paper 2, international relations. Exactly where? India bilateral relations, right? Now why it is in news? So recently what happened? Our new government at central formed, coalition government. After the government formed, our prime minister, he went to Russia, and this is the first bilateral visit of India with Russia, and that too after our government came into power, right? Okay, so that is the one thing. So now what is the thing which is going on in news is, especially US and Western countries or European countries, they don't like this move of India to visit Russia. So because of this, they are making some statements, and even those statements had been not accepted by India. So that is also there in our today's newspaper. So here in this condition, what are the things that are relevant from our UPSC point of view? What do you have to see? So first you have to see map of Russia. So which is the largest country in the world? Russia. So can you tell me how many countries are sharing boundary with Russia? How many countries are sharing boundary with Russia? Very good students. Even map pointing had been done in geography, but don't know how many countries are sharing boundary with Russia. At least can you tell me some countries' names which are sharing boundary with Russia? Ukraine. Very good. Apart from that. China. Ma'am, I don't know how many countries are sharing boundary, but you're asking which countries are sharing boundary. Is it not? It is not fair. Is this your question? So today after this class, open your atlas and see where Russia is located. And you have to see how, at least tell me how many time zones are there in Russia. Next. Okay, check it once. And tell me like which are the longitudes which are there, boundaries. And you have to see the longitudinal extent. And you have to see the countries which are sharing boundary with Russia. It's very important because every year you will be getting one question regarding the country sharing boundary with so and so country which is in news. Very good. Okay. And here you have to see in which areas we are having proper cooperation. That is called as areas of cooperation between Russia and India. And you have to see 2 years of current affairs at least. For every country, at least 2 years of development, like what are the agreements we had, or like what is the trade which is going on, the recent trend, and what are the any programs or any collaboration, education, or any development in our defense systems or any technology we are getting from that country. Okay, so like that you have to see the areas of cooperation and you have to see the challenges. So regarding challenges, we had discussion in our earlier class. So can you tell me between India and Russia, what are the challenges we are having now? Come on, think. I said this topic. Yes, Russia is moving towards China, so it is one of the cause of concern between India and Russia. Apart from that, Russia-Ukraine issue next. Yes, relation with Western countries are going bad now because of Russia. And can you tell me the recent developments between India and Russia? Recent developments. So I said about rupee ruble trade is going good. What is rupee ruble trade? So actually in trade we have imports and exports. And whenever imports and exports is happening between two countries, we are calling it as international trade. So in this international trade between India and Russia, so the payment will be happens through SWIFT payment system. I'm not talking about Maruti Swift. That is a payment system, okay? So through this system, the payment will be happening between India and Russia. So what happened? Because of Russia-Ukraine crisis, Russia had been banned from the SWIFT payment system. So because of this, here on that time onwards, India and Russia, they didn't stop the trade. Trade is going on. But instead of the SWIFT payment system, we are paying in India's rupee. Next one is ruble payment system. Ruble is the currency of Russia. So in this rupee and ruble, the trade is going on and it is good actually. Okay. So apart from that, Russia is providing oil, crude oil. So actually we don't have crude oil reserves in India, right? So very less oil reserves are there. So we used to get from Iran earlier. But because of Iran's nuclear deal 2015, or we can also call it with this JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and even because of CAATSA, Countering American Adversaries Through Sanction Act. So according to this act, what US says is, so if any country doing trade with Iran, so those countries will also get sanctions from USA. So because of that fear, earlier we used to get this crude oil from Iran. We made our imports is equal to 0. We are not getting any crude oil from Iran because of fear of this CAATSA. So later on, we diverted our crude oil sources. Okay, later on we shifted towards getting more from West Asia, and even Russia is also sending crude oil, that too at a discounted price for India. Okay, that too at a discounted price. So these are the recent developments from India and as well as Russia relations, which are positive areas of cooperation. Clear? Okay, let us see this article. What is this editorial is saying exactly? So here this article is saying that there was one clear message of a sure bet that Narendra Modi government has placed on India-Russia ties. That means after this Modi ji came into power, so he gave prominence to Russia. He didn't go to any US or any European country. First bilateral meetings between India and Russia. Because of that, what we can understand? Yeah, Russia is the closest friend. And apart from that, for example, you have a chance of going to two places. Okay, in that two places you have to choose one. So which will you choose? For example, you have to go to your grandmother's home, or one side you have to go to your aunt home. So which place you will be choosing? There is no choice. You have to go to one place for sure. Aunt home. Why? Daughter will be there. Okay. Okay, because of daughter, you will go into aunt home. Okay. So if you want to go to any place, you have to see the importance. That means before actually we have USA on one side and we have here Russia on another side. But here our government want to go to Russia here, right? That means you are giving more priority to Russia here. And because of that, what are the statements USA doing here is we are not accepting those statements. And even Western countries also having this thing which is seen in the news. Okay, so actually from this article, what we have to learn is our Prime Minister recent visit to Russia, his first bilateral trip during his third tenure, which sparked that we are particularly giving importance to Russia because Russia is the all-weather friend of India. And even many crisis situations also, Russia had been helped India compared to that of US. US sometimes it didn't help India, but Russia every time helped India. Okay, so because of this, even we had a policy of non-alignment movement, NAM, in Cold War era of 1960s also, we had a tilt towards Russia. Okay, and next one here is, we also studied about importance of foreign policy. So how a country should maintain a relationship with another country, it is called as foreign policy. And we have our own policy, like how we have to maintain relationship with our neighboring countries. For that we have neighborhood first policy. And for example, how we are maintaining relationship with Southeast Asian countries, we have Act East policy. Like that, for every country, how we have to maintain the relations, we have our own foreign policy. So one thing that you have to remember is, in maintaining of foreign policy, no one country needs to interfere. Okay, so this is the thing which is saying here, that is, we are following the freedom of choice in our foreign policy because of this ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. We are not taking that much into consideration. So even other countries are saying that India should play a very important role in resolving this issue, but India is nowhere talking about that. Even United Nations Security Council also, India had been abstained in voting. That means we can say, yes, we are having a freedom of choice in our foreign policy. And if you see the details, it says that strategic engagement with Russia. So Modi's visit, which illustrates India's intent to preserve strong ties. So we want to preserve our ties at least for the next 5 years when this Modi is in power. And especially we want to maintain geopolitical balance, because across the world, your politics is changing. For example, in US, we are going to have elections. And even many countries had been changed their government. So whenever government is changing, automatically the foreign policies get changed. For example, you can take the recent elections of Maldives. Earlier government used to very much favor to India, but now whatever the government which came into power, which is favor towards China. Okay, and we want to properly maintain our strategic relationship with Russia, so that if you are having any threat, Russia will come and help us. And next one is, we are not involving in this Ukraine conflict. And next one is, whenever we are having this type of bilateral visits with Russia, it is having impact on India and US relations also. That is the one important thing. And actually the one important cause of concern, or what is the challenge between India and Russia relation is, so Russia is also moving close towards China. We are not liking that. That is the one important challenge. Yeah, that's it. And even in this visit, we are having some economic implications. we already signed many memorandum of understandings in proper economic cooperations, and we are thinking that our trade is going to be increased to 66% by the end of this 2024 because of recent trade agreements that we had with Russia. Clear? And next, Karnataka students, are you there? Again, Karnataka related article came in the news. So see the article here, Karnataka bill is a symptom of larger problem. So can you guess what this article is talking about? Yes, reservation for locals. So how much? Okay, it is talking about Karnataka bill. So this bill is talking about reservation for locals. How much percent? 50 and 70%. So 50% for management jobs, 50% for management, and 70% for non-management. So from which subjects we can read this article? From which subjects? Come on, think. Polity. It will come easily from mouth. Polity and governance. Economy, GS paper 3. Next, come on. Society. It will also come easily from mouth. GS1 and GS2, society. Defense. Next, which subjects? Online students, please be active. Can I take it into GS1 under geography? How, ma'am? Is it your question? So in geography, you have studied about this topic of migration, right? Can it affect migration? Next, tell me. Tell me other dimensions. Okay, we got how many? Polity and governance, economy, society, geography. And tell me other subjects. Okay, let it be. Tell me what are the things that you have to refer here. So because of reservation, what it happens, it is affecting fundamental rights. So which fundamental rights will be get affected? Right to equality, Article 14 to Article 18. Next, only that, we are also having right to freedom. In that we have freedom of movement. So because of reservation, my freedom of movement from Telangana to Karnataka will be get affected. Yes. Next, right to freedom. Next, here movement. Right to profession. So here fundamental rights are getting affected. Okay, so this is the first thing. And apart from that, here you have to know about what is that bill exactly talking about and what are the provisions of that bill. So this is second thing that you have to know. And apart from that, you have to know what are the positives and what are the negatives of that bill. And even you have to know what are the challenges before this Karnataka state government to implement that once if it is passed. So from that way also you can get mains question. So you have to think in that way also. Clear? So these are the dimensions that you have to follow. And already we discussed this topic, right? Now tell me what might be there in this article. See the title, the Karnataka bill is a symptom of large problem. So here the strong reactions to the bill must induce serious conversation on underlying issues, India's exploding job crisis and regional socio-economic disparities. Now after seeing that central theme, at least you have to guess something what might be given in this article. Come on, you can do this. Can you expand on that? Okay, next. Think, you can do it. You have that capability. Students of Rathod Science, you can. Inequality, diversity, okay. Impact on migration, next. Fundamental rights, disparity, okay. Next. Think. Okay, management, okay. Mm. Okay, population density. How? Okay, other people will not come here. Okay, very good. Next. Okay, let us see this article. Exactly, let us have a look of what are the things which are given in this article. So, Karnataka reservation bill has sparked a significant controversy now because already we know that our entire economy, our India itself is facing this unemployment. What is the rate of unemployment in India? 9.2%. And even the states also, they are having their own unemployment rate. And especially to reduce the unemployment and to provide job opportunities, it is the responsibility of government. I will accept, right? So for that only, to improve employment opportunities, they are coming up with reservation for locals. That is 50% and 70%. What's wrong in that? Is there anything wrong? What is that? Yes. Even though if there is no skill also, they have to give the reservation. For example, if Manoj and me went for a teaching, okay, for a job of teaching there. So who will get the job, Manoj or me? You will get. So even though if you have no skills of teaching also, you will be getting job. That means it is in your subject you can teach. Yeah, that's what. If you are having the same subject. Huh? Yeah. Okay, so let us say this. So here, because of that, what happened? Regional disparities are coming up, and even whenever we are talking about reservation for the jobs for locals, means that will lead to a problem of inequitable growth. Okay, inequitable growth, and even that is also having impact on migration. So because of jobs only, many people they will be getting migrated from rural areas to urban areas, and even from one state to another state. Especially if you see in Hyderabad, in this Ashok Nagar, if you compare the students who are preparing for examinations, who will be more? Telangana people or AP people? AP people will be about 70% in Ashok Nagar. Only 30% people are from Telangana state. So because whenever they are getting, wherever they are getting opportunities, they will try to migrate. Okay, for example, if there is one company which is establishing in Karnataka, if they are saying that we are providing 5,000 jobs, so everyone will try to get the job. So because of this reservation of 70% where there is a non-management job is there means, so whether it will be discouraging the people to migrate to Karnataka or not. Yes. But on another side, we are having positives. If you understand, if you want to understand the local topography, and if they want to give correctly the information to the people in their local Kannada language, means yes, those people are perfect compared to that of me, right? So you have to think about both positives and as well as negatives there. So if you see this article, it is talking about Karnataka Reservation Bill. So you have to know that bill name. That is Karnataka State Employment of Local Candidates in Industries, Factories and Other Establishment Bill. So it is very long. It is around 2 lines itself. So whenever you are writing your answer, you have to give the complete name of that bills or acts. So take down this Karnataka State Employment of Local Candidates in Industries, Factories and Other Establishments Bill 2024. It is mandating 50% reservation for management and 70% for non-management jobs. So here, because of this reservation, it will lead to rise of sons of soil concept. Already we discussed that. And next one is regionalism concept will also get into picture. So because of this, what happened? Conflict can arise between the states. And next one is we can create jobs, especially for the locals, so that there will be discrimination based on the merit and as well as based on the skill. This will be also happens. And even opportunities will be getting reduced for other state people. And next one is there is also distress migration. So especially movement of unskilled labor will happens. Like if you see in the south, we have cement factories or like rice mills, etc. Who are the people working here? Especially Bihari labor will be working. Okay. So whenever we are coming up with this concept of reservation, it will be affecting the migration. And next one is we are having the one more concept is exploitation of labor. Okay, so you can see, take the one practical example like if you are having an industry, so you want around 100 labor. Okay, you announced that we are giving employment opportunity for unskilled labor. So the people from the local area will be coming and people from other areas will be coming. So who will be demanding more? Local people will be demanding more compared to that of migrants. So whenever you are having reservation means what happens? So this, a non-local people will be not getting jobs, and further there will be exploitation on this non-local laborers there. That means we can connect with the topic of exploitation of labor. Right? Understood? And even there will be issues of governance, like how they can implement this bill. So there will be lots and lots of challenges if they come up with this in the future. Okay, so like that you have to know. And for the implementation of this kind of controversial things, we need proper political, corporate, every stakeholders who are involved, so they need to have the proper consensus. And there is one main question. See this question once. Examine the impact of Karnataka Reservation Bill on various communities within the state. How does it address the issues of social justice and equality? Can you write at least 4 to 5 points? Introduction, what can you write? Introduction about act and 50-70% reservation you can write. Next, body. So how many questions are there? First one is impact. What will be the impact? Impact on society, impact on skills, impact on employment, migration. You can write 4 to 5 points there. Next one here is how does it address issues of social justice and equality. So it is violating which articles? You can write the articles, and you have to write measures to address this. Then your answer is done. Is it easy? So if you understand the concepts clearly, then you can able to write your answers. So understanding the concept is very important in this UPSC. Clear? Read this article title. India's illegal coal mining problem. So is this a new topic? Tell me when exactly we discussed this topic. So recently we saw deaths of illegal coal mining in which state? Very good. Ma'am, please don't ask this type of questions. Not in Jharkhand. No, not in Northeast. It is in Western. In Gujarat, 3 people died. Is it a new topic? When we discussed, I think 3 days ago. So what is the keyword here? Illegal coal mining. Illegal coal mining. So from which subjects we can discuss this? Geography. Always first one will be geography. Geography. Next. Polity. How? Okay, you will be okay. From GSP, it is not from politics, from governance. Acts, policies will come under governance. So here you can see about Mines and Minerals Act. We discussed in our first article. Next, which subject? Yeah, from GS paper 3, Environment and Ecology, and from GS paper 3, Disaster Management. And next, yes, Economy. From GS paper 3, Economy. Next, okay, GS paper 2, Health. Next, so from governance you have to see about administration machinery also. And from GS paper 4, can we connect with ethics? So where we will be studying about probity and governance. In probity and governance chapter, you will be knowing about corruption and corporate responsibility. All those things will come. So how many subjects we are connecting? How many subjects? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subjects. 1 topic, 7 subjects. In paper 1, where? Yeah, essay we will be writing everything there. We are not going to take that essay separately. So we are connecting single topic with 7 subjects. Okay, now let us see the dimensions, what you have to see. dimensions. So you have to understand what is illegal coal mining, why we are calling it as illegal without any permission, without any certificates. We are going for mining that is called as illegal. Uh, you have to see what are the causes of this illegal mining. So why we are going for illegal? Yes, there will be high profit. Next, high profit, and whenever there is huge demand. Next, you have to see what will be the impacts. So impacts on environment, impacts on people, impacts on economy, impacts on health, impacts on community. You can connect with society also because of local community is there here. Okay, all these things. And next, how can we ensure this illegal coal mining will be controlled? That means you have to see what are the measures can be taken. And even this is happening because of political nexus. That means a nexus with the political parties. Okay, everything, corruption, everything can be included. You have to see how we can arrest them. So all these are the dimensions. Clear with dimensions? Okay, let us see this article in detail. So illegal coal mining in India poses significant dangers. Because of this illegal coal mining, we are seeing increasing of deaths or fatalities in India. So why? Because of there is huge demand of coal. So I have to write this. Why illegal mining? First one is there is increase in demand of coal. Next one is because of poverty. And this one is inadequate enforcement of rules and regulations and because of political nexus. So all these things are there. You have to make a note. And next, if you see exactly what this article is saying is, there is high fatality rates. So why recently these people, they had been died in Gujarat? Because they don't have any protective gear. If you see in our COVID-19 period, so how nurses, they were top to bottom covered with these PPEs, and even doctors, they don't even want to touch anyone, right? So in the same way, these people, they are working in very harsh conditions, but they don't have any protective equipment. Because of this asphyxiation, they had been died. That means because of lack of air, because of increasing of carbon dioxide, they had been died. Okay, and even actually why it is increasing? Because of increasing of demand for coal. Why? Because of increasing of demand for electricity. So mostly electricity in India is produced by thermal only, right? So because of that, there is obviously increasing of demand for the coal, and because of this, there is increasing of illegal mining practices, and even there is especially poor people who are searching in the work, whatever the work may be, even the dangerous place also, they will be going and work because of the poverty. And next one is whatever the laws are there. For example, Mines and Mineral Act. So we are not properly enforcing those laws. Because of that, we are having this kind of incidents. And even you may get a question. So if it is happening illegally, so what this political people who are present there, like MLAs, MPs, or police officers are there. So they will be having nexus. They will be having their own commissions. And we can write about corruption there. And next one is even they will be having the impact on the community. Like whenever we are going for mining, it will be having impact on environment, so that there will be impact on the health of the people, livelihood of the people. There will no proper rehabilitation. So the people who are doing this illegal mining, so they will be not allowing that local people to stay there, right? So even by force also they will try to leave that place. So because of that also, here there will be no compensation from the government, there will be no proper rehabilitation, everything will happen. And for this, we need a proper reforms like stronger enforcement of regulations, and economic support for the communities can be given from government. And even we have to mitigate the dangers, and whatever the social issues are related to this illegal mining, they have to be taken care of. And there is one more question. See this question. Can you answer this, online students? So please tell me. Discuss the socio-economic and environmental impacts of illegal coal mining in India. How does it affect the local communities and overall ecosystem? Can you write? So what can you write in introduction about? Illegal coal mining deaths recently happened with examples. And in the body, first one is what is the socio-economic and environmental impact. You can write 3 to 4 points. And next one is local communities, means health, livelihood, loss of shelter, even right to shelter is a fundamental rights. Yesterday itself we discussed. So you can add all those points. Next, see this article. Minister launches revamped model skill loan scheme. So what it is talking about? Giving loans by the government to enhance your skills. So why it is in use? Because earlier they used to give 1.5 lakh rupees for candidate. Now it had been increased to 7.5 lakhs. But they have to repay with interest rate of 1.5%. Okay. So this article is saying that Skill Development Minister launched this revamped model skill loan scheme. And why it is in use? Because it had been enhanced from 1.5 to 7.5 lakhs. So because of this, what happened now? There is increased accessibility for the students, especially if they want to get the high skill, they have to pay more amount of money. So for that now, government is providing for that high cost skill courses also. And next one is even now in this time they had been broadened the lending services. Like even earlier they have to go to only RBI and the banks, but now even non-banking financial companies and as well as small financial banks also they are going to give the services. And next one is they are focusing on even high-end skills so that they increase these limitations and they are going to have the potential economic impact also. That's it. So what is the scheme is? So this scheme already introduced in year 2015. So especially they are focusing on improving of skills of the students so that they will be getting employment opportunities and we can address this problem of unemployment in India. And they will be getting courses from this National Skill Qualification Framework. They will be having certifications, diplomas or degrees here. So who are eligible? So anyone who wants to get this, they are eligible and there is no age limit also. That's it. And they have to pay the amount within 3 years to 7 years based on the amount they had been drawn. Okay, clear? Okay, let us go to our page. So here you can see one image. So this image is about showing a boat. So this boat is called a snake boat. Okay, so normally snake boat race is very famous, especially during this festival of Onam, which is going on here. And I discussed about this illegal coal mining. Okay, that's all the very important articles which appear in today's Hindu newspaper. So I hope like you got some insights like how you have to read the current affairs and how you have to get the perspectives and you have to make the notes and how you have to answer the questions from this class. So by this I'm concluding, and please do like this class and share this class to your friends. And that's all guys, and do subscribe to Rathore Science Academy if you're watching this channel for the first time. And thank you so much.